Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Asphalt Aprons with me, Donkey.
Me, Trog.
And today we're joined by Joe Cairney, who we will find out more about as we go in. Joe, let's first talk about Joe the biker. Guide us through your history of bikes, what you got into bikes, and was it an early age?
Very early. So I've been playing with bikes now, riding bikes for 5 decades. So non-stop, not continuously, obviously. I'd be exhausted. Before that, I used to have a hobby of going down and cleaning the lads that lived in the same council estate I grew up in, cleaning their bikes when I was about 8, 9-year-old. Get in there and they'd sit, listen to Led Zeppelin and smoking pot, and I'd be out there polishing the chrome with Solve Autosol. And from that age, pre-teens, I had an affinity with bikes and with bikers as well. Just felt natural to me.
Just something you seem to fall into.
It was just something that was natural. It was like, folk jump in water and learn to swim really quickly.
Yeah.
I got near bikes and it felt home.
Yeah, that's my spot.
Aye,
Yeah.
that's that.
Just a side note, are you still cleaning bikes?
Well,
You're getting a wreck.
yeah,
I'm not going flyer on mine.
yeah. I believe there's a trade out there as well, but just mowing.
So what was your first bike?
First bike I was riding was my sister's when I was skipping school at 14-year-old and borrowing her bike and taking that for a spin. So that was a bit naughty, but that was the first riding bike. After that, I got a moped at 16. Then I was getting thrown out the house if I bought another bike. So I got a 175 Enduro, a VDT Yamaha,
That house.
and stored it at my mate's house. And eventually my dad let me bring it back to the house. And that was it from mopeds to 50cc jobs up to 125s and 175s and 250s. And
Did you prefer 2 strokes or 4 strokes at the time?
At the time, it was always 2 strokes.
Right.
Yeah. I loved the 2 strokes and the smell, the power,
The rattle
power
as
band.
well, the
Yeah.
rattle about the
Oh, aye. And they were easy to fix.
Aye.
I'm an engineer at trade, so
yeah.
you could, if the bike nipped up or seized or needed something changed, it was dead straightforward to change it.
Yeah.
And then I got into 4 strokes and then found out about overhead valves and camshafts and
That you didn't like.
aye.
This is getting better. Somebody that kens how to clean bikes and somebody that knows how to fix bikes.
Aye.
This could become a one-stop shop for me.
That was in the days where you could actually take an engine out of a bike
Oh, aye.
and you could do it yourself and have it back in within a few hours.
Well,
You
absolutely.
couldn't do that now.
Aye. You could.
Absolutely no chance.
If the piston nipped up, you would take the head off, you would take the bore into or the cylinder into the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
You could get it sort of reamed out again, sort of like upper size, get a piston for piston components in Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
A wee oversized piston
Yeah,
with the
where you
rings,
went.
the gudgeon pin, and you're back in the running in the evening. Or you're
Down the
simply
down the breakers, get
down the
started
breakers.
engine.
Absolutely. Down the Alvins when they used to be there and get yourself to half a dozen bits when you're
I
there.
used to go to one down in Granton. I
Aye.
think was it Spuds?
Spuds or Spud Woods, aye.
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 Right,
Remember
that's right.
Spuds, aye.
Anytime you fell off a bike, you just went out the Spuds and got on bits.
It's not something you can do nowadays, is it?
Nah.
Because used to do for me it was the cars. You would go to the scrapyard because down at Newcastle Hall used to have the big scrappies.
Oh,
down
yeah,
there,
of course,
'cause we used to
aye.
play it as kids. But you could go there now, and now everything's like your toilet to get.
Aye.
They call themselves vehicle dismantlers now.
Dismantlers, aye. Aye.
Yeah.
The road on the parts, but it's the same with the bikes. You could just pop into the scrappies and just get whatever you needed. If you got a colour match, you were doing really well.
Oh, you were hot.
But
If
the
not, it was a
parts
wee rattle
were really
can
cheap.
and
Yeah, where you
Get a wee
went,
spray
yeah.
on the
So
pavement.
many black side panels, black tanks.
And what bike are you riding now?
For the past 3 years, I've been riding a Yamaha Tracer 900 GT Plus. Brilliant bike, does everything I need it to do. A wee 3-cylinder, it's got some nice character about it. It's got enough power for me, and it's economical. Bought it brand new across Duffus over in Kirkcaldy, and it's now just turned 40,000 miles. So it's at a few miles put on
How
it.
many miles in it?
So bikes are for riding. So
Right.
I love riding bikes.
Let's get to the crunch of the matter. Blood Bike Scotland. How did you first get involved with Blood Bike Scotland?
So Blood Bike Scotland and myself have been, I've known about them for a while. I was fortunate enough, I'd my own business for 15 years. I retired when I was 58. So I had time in my hands and I thought Blood Bank Scotland, I looked at them when I was still working, when I was staying across in Bridge Allen, Menstrie Way, and they had an organisation there, a regional area, but the shifts that they were offering I couldn't do. I was still working, so
Right.
so that was back in 2014. So when I retired in 2018-19, I thought I can do something here. So I then got into blood bikes when I retired, and been doing it now for 4 and a bit years. Loving it. It's a fantastic charity, and it does amazing stuff.
So that
for
brings us on
communities.
to the next question then. What exactly is blood bikes?
So blood bikes, so we separate out blood bikes and blood bike Scotland. Blood bikes is a national charity that works on helping hospitals with things. Blood bike charities down south, you've got Northumberland, for example, just over the border.
Mhm.
They restock some of their ambulances overnight. They do a lot of work when the day shift drivers and couriers stop working, and they come in and do the work that they would do during the day. Blood Bank Scotland, we cover 5 health boards, regional health boards in Scotland. So we look after Borders, Lothians, Forth Valley, Fife, and Tayside. So all those regional health boards, we've got a service level agreement with them. And what we'll do for them is pretty much what they ask us to do.
Right.
So some of them ask us to transfer whole blood for transfusion. So we'll do that. Some of them will ask us to transfer blood samples, but they won't let us do whole bloods because
Right.
they've got other solutions for that. So we're very adaptable. We can fit into what the health board needs us to do. Hours of operation, a lot of the health boards down south work when the day shift guys go off. We tend to work and supporting the day shift capacity as well. So we don't do a night shift in Blood Bank Scotland, but what we do is we work with the health boards during the day, some days 5 days a week, some days 6, some days 7, depending on what the region needs.
Mm-hmm.
And how did something like blood bikes come around? How did something like that start?
So the concept of it is goes all the way back. So we've heard of Spanish flu and things, and inoculations, and getting injections out to remote places.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this started out in Australia, where they actually took doctors and nurses out to remote patients' homes
Right. Yeah.
and delivered a service there using motorbikes as the means of transport.
Okay.
It then started in the UK. It started up with the Free Wheelers Voluntary Service, FVS, down south, and they got more into supporting health boards, the health trusts down in Englandshire, and they support them doing what they need them to do. And then as more and more people saw it, there's a National Association of Blood Banks, which is like an overarching body, and they then sort of like came together with like templated solutions as to what people that are interested in doing. And our 2 founding members, Rod Spalding and Brian Fraser, saw in the telly, an advert on the telly about blood bikes, and thought we could do that. They got in touch with Blood Bikes, the National Association. They then, a guy, John Stephanie, came up, gave him a talk as to how to set it up. And that was 2012. And then from that point on, Blood Bike Scotland was born.
So it's an international organisation. It's not because all I ever thought was it's a UK based organisation, but it's
yeah.
an international organisation.
So in April this year, myself and Brian Fraser, one of the founding members, and John Noble and Sheila Noble, the 4 of us went across to Slovenia for the international blood bank group, first ever. It was the 8th Emergency Services Conference. So we went across there to see what it was all about. And from there, we formed a global fellowship of blood bank riders. We've got Papua New Guinea, we've got American, we've got Canadian, we've got Australian.
Wow.
When you go through Europe and the Balkans, you've got Romania, Hungary, Italy, France, Germany, Spain. All these countries have got blood bank
So
organisations.
they've all seen that need where you're filling that gap for the other services.
The needs there.
lacking.
Yeah. It's just something we could augment and support that wouldn't happen, if we weren't there.
All right. So can you talk us through then a typical shift when that call would come in for you to either transfer whatever's needed transferred to wherever?
So the way they were structured is, as I say, we've got 5 regional health boards we look after. We've got a controller who's somebody that sits on the phones, looks after the calls coming in. The health board, the regional health boards contact the controller through sort of like just redirected phone numbers. The controller works from home. They can work from anywhere. It's a phone number that goes to wherever they direct it to. And they then coordinate the riders that are on shift and the work that's coming in. All the bikes are fitted with cameras and trackers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're tracked 24/7. We know exactly where every bike is. All the riders, when they start their shift, and car drivers as well, they check in with the controller. So the controller and the person on shift has a relationship there straight away. And as the jobs come into the controller will then farm out the work as and when it comes in.
Well, I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen a blood bike travel about at some point. Are you? Are all? I mean, you said you covered 5 regions. I take it they've all got pockets of riders within these regions. It's not like someone here is going to tell you you're going to have to do Grampian or things like that. So, is there a network of groups in each of these regions that
Absolutely.
the controllers will get in touch
Yes.
with?
So our controllers split into basically 2 geographical cover areas. We've got Forth Valley and Tayside, and that's one controller that looks after those 2 areas. And those 2 areas will have drivers and riders that report to that controller. In the Lothians, we look after Lothians, Fife and Borders, and whoever the controllers are, they'll look after the riders that are in those areas. And there can be maybe 4 or 5 riders in Lothians, Borders and Fife at any one time.
Right.
The controller shifts start off at 9 in the morning. They go through various times till noon. So that's a 3-hour shift for a controller. Or the controller can do a noon till 4 o'clock, or they can do a 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So small shifts on the phones, and they just then coordinate the work that comes in.
Right. So
And
that kind of brings us on to bikes that you use and what kind of comms communication do you guys use?
So all the bikes we're fitted with trackers, RAM trackers, so we can see exactly where they are. We've got cameras front and back with Innova 7 cameras front and back. So we've got live footage that we can tap into. We've also got the tracking as well, so we know where our guys are. As the work that comes in to the rider will get a phone call, and the phone call will just be, can you go towards 41 at the Western General and pick up some medication to go to an address in Gustorfen.
Oh, yeah.
So they get that instruction over a phone call. They then make their way to the Western Ward 41. The time they get there, the controller sent them a text through with the full details of what the job is.
Right.
So by the time they get there, they take their helmet, their gloves, so they jump out the car, they go up to reception, they say this is what they're there for. We've got a very controlled process. We take responsibility for the medication when it's passed to us.
Right.
So there's a signed document that the person releasing the medication gives it to us. We then are the custodians of that medication, and some medication can be quite expensive medication, and we are talking opioids as well, so we're talking controlled drugs, morphines, etc. So the medication we're transferring could be quite expensive, very important, and then we get the destination delivery address, put it into Google Maps or Waves, whatever we're using, or our sat navs that are fitted on the bikes, and then that just guides us through to our delivery. And at delivery, we hand over the medication and we get it signed off at point of delivery.
And is it all the same types of bikes you use, or is it just all different?
So the bikes have been going through various iterations. We've started off using Hondas. We've had FJ 1300s. We're now on to predominantly the Fleet's RQ 1250s, which is a very stable, good weather protection bike, but it's still 250 to 300 kg of rolling machinery, and if you're skirting about town all day, it can be a bit of a beast to wrestle through traffic. So we've got 800 BMWs as well. We've got a couple of Tracers as well, 900s.
All right.
And then we've got Motor Guzzi 850s. So we do mix the fleet
There's
up.
quite a variety there then.
So we've got a variety of different shapes, sizes, all doing the same function. And then car-wise, in every region that we cover, we've got a car in each of these areas too. So if the weather is below 3 degrees during winter, we don't let the bikes go out. We use cars, and that's health and safety, basically. And if the weather is going to be torrential rain, the rider might say, stuff the bike or use the car instead. Or if the person, and we take car drivers, advanced car drivers on too. So if the advanced car driver says, I don't have a bike license, but I want to volunteer, they can, and the vehicle's there for them to use. And sometimes the stuff that we're asked to shift is larger than what the bike can take. So the bikes have got panniers and top boxes and space in the back seat. But sometimes what they ask you to take is bulkier than what we could fit. And when the call comes in, part of the controller's job is to just validate, will it fit on a bike? So we don't arrive and find the chest of drawers, for example. We need to get shifted in the back of an 850.
Well, I've seen some sizes of top boxes. Some of these bikes, they're not your sort of standard thing.
Absolutely.
And I totally agree. I used to have an F800, and I've got a Tiger now, and the difference between going in traffic in town is night and day, because what you can filter, what you can't filter, these sort of things. You touched there very much on the safety and the advance aspect. I'm assuming nobody can just rock up and say, hey, I ride a bike, can I be a blood biker? Do you guys go through any additional training that's there, and what is the sort of requirements for somebody that would say, look, I quite like to get into being a blood bike rider? How do I do that? What's the process there?
So for riding or driving, the criteria is age 25 to 70. That's just for our insurance purposes. Have an advanced qualification through either ROSPA or IAM. So you pitch up there with advanced qualification. If you come in with advanced on the bike, you're eligible to drive the car. If you come in with an advanced on the car, you're not eligible to drive the bike. You've got to have an advanced to drive the bike. And that's the only qualification we ask. If you don't have that, but you wish to go with, I want to find out more about it, you can join as a controller, and you'll get training on how to do that. In terms of all the roles that we do, everyone does get training when you're onboarded. So we go through inductions, we go through orientation, we go through shadowing as well. We do a supportive system, so you don't arrive at a hospital, which everyone finds really confusing when you first get there. They're enormous where to park the bike. All that's covered during the training. And then if you've got any queries, we've got a good bunch of volunteers that help each other, because we've all had our day one. So everyone knows where the affects that place. How do I get to such and such from here? How do I get there? Where's the entry point? And which buzzer up in?
We all have that problem when we attend the hospital, don't we?
Absolutely.
That day one, it's like you're running in circles, and then if you're having to go, unfortunately, a few times after, you're finding all the shortcuts.
Absolutely.
And how easy it is.
You
day one, it's like...
absolutely. So a phone call away, you've always got support of other volunteers that are on the end of the phone. So we help each other out that way.
I think the crucial point that you mentioned there a couple of times is volunteers. It's a volunteer organisation. So we've got the riders, we've got the controllers. Who else is behind the scenes making all this sort of tick over?
Yeah, I once saw a thing of Lewis Hamilton, who'd won the world championship for the first time, and there was him in his car, and then they sort of drew out of all the people that supported him to be able to win the championship. And there was like dozens, and then it came further back and there was hundreds. So you see the guy in the bike, behind the guy in the bike, there's a committee that sorts out all the insurance and all the logistics. Every health board that we work with's got a service level agreement. All that's organised by our committee members. We might touch on a little bit fundraising. We've got somebody that looks after fundraising to get the money in, because we're 100% funded by donations from the public and corporates. We get nothing from government or from NHS. And there's also lots of areas where when we're out and about having to do stuff, the main help comes from the community. So people will help us. Our camaraderie will help us. We've got relationship with bike dealerships. You can go in there if you've got a problem with the headlight goes on the RT, for example. We can roll into some of the garages that we use, and they'll change the bike when we're on shift.
All right. Okay.
You know, so during the day, not such a big heartache during the summertime. But if you're just on a job and you know you're having to head through to Glasgow, for example, and it's going to be dark on the way back, then you need to abort the job.
That's handy.
So I've been able to drive into a garage.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people support us, not just within Blood Bikes, but out with.
Yeah.
But within Blood Bikes, there's a lot of admin that goes on behind the scenes. You never see the insurance, the MOTs, the servicing.
Well, I never even would have thought you would have an SLE. But I suppose when you think of the service that you're providing and the critical care or that you're also providing, an SLA is a big major part of that. So
Absolutely.
that's something you would never even think of.
It's what
Being incorporated there.
What we want to do is we want to go to the health board and say, what is it we can do for you? And each of the health boards will have different things. And it's seasonality as well. They'll have different pressures and different points a year.
Yeah.
So we as guys that ride motorbikes around town, we might not know what they need. We might have an idea because we've seen another group doing it or another region doing it, but might not know that region. So we've got our service level agreements to say, well, when do you want us to work?
Yeah.
Some of them say, well, between 8 and 6. Some of them say between 9 and 4.
Yeah.
You know, because we've got cover elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because
Because
we
your
just fit
risk
with them.
assessments would be different as well, depending on the regions and the other areas that you're all in. So there's a huge health and safety aspect of that as well.
Yes.
And I suppose that's something else. But as Steve's saying, we're seeing the bikes parked outside, and you're thinking that's the be all and end all of Blood Bike Scotland.
Yeah, huge amount
But
of
it's the
behind the
huge.
scenes. Yeah.
I think, you know, and I would say in my naivety as well, is you sort of just think it's Blood Bikes is like, oh yeah, you're taking it to the Royal and from it to the Western.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's a guy who's volunteered and he's bike did it. But there's a lot more behind to make that happen because you're dealing with sensitive items. So as you say, there's the signing over, the responsibility, there's the ability of the drivers, the bikes and everything that involves. Now, that obviously costs money. What you said there, you get no help from the government or the NHS. So you're primarily your own fundraising, donations, things like that.
Yes.
Is that the key
That's
thing that keeps this going? You recently did something that my wife thought was unbelievable. She said, "There's a guy climbing Everest in North Berwick," and I said, "How can you be climbing Everest in North Berwick?" Elaborate for us, please, so that people don't go suddenly Googling is Everest in North Berwick.
Yeah. So this came about. We do a lot of fundraising. We do a lot of fundraising through events outside supermarkets, at trade shows, at bike shows, at British Superbikes, etc. Up at Knockhill, where we're raising awareness and we're also raising some money. We're very conscious there that people see us and they see us with tins and they put money in, and sometimes you put money in and you forget who you've given to and you forget why you've given and you forget what they do. So January this year, I had a good think and I said, well, we need to do something to raise awareness of what Blood Bike Scotland offers, and we need to do it so we can do it regionally in our communities that resonates with the people that use the service, benefit from the service or see the service. And if we make some money in the process of doing that, all well and good.
Yeah.
But sometimes you've got to sort of speculate to accumulate. You've got to make people aware, and then after they're aware, then things will happen. So we sort of like give it a lot of thinking. It had to be something that was a bit quirky and was a bit just off the wall that would get attention. So I came up with the idea of Mount Everest is 8,845 meters. So if we could climb the height of Everest using a local area, we could claim to have climbed Everest. So I came up with this thing, called it the Everest Challenge. The Everest Challenge went to all 5 regions. Some of the regions chose to climb in rows with a group of guys, and the steps that they took equated to the height to climb Everest. Some guys in the North Sea, for example, one of the regions in Fife, we had 5 oil platforms involved, and they did it to go up and down stairs on the platform.
All right.
That's how they climbed Everest, right? So it could be quite imaginative. Other people did spin classes. Some people did country dancing and counted steps. So a whole range of different things to climb Everest. I myself climbed North Berwick Law 63 times, which equated to each day doing just over a marathon, doing about 4 Monroes a day, and it equated to overall 9,000 plus meters within the 3 days. Original set my target of doing it 63 times in 63 hours. But unfortunately, I blew that because I was too chatty with people that were coming along.
Right. Okay.
But the purpose of the event was to raise awareness.
Yeah.
So if people wanted to come along and talk about it, I was more than happy to tell them what blood
You're
bikes
caught
does.
between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, we raised, with all the charities, with all the regions involved, we raised just under £30,000, which is a good sum of money. But the community engagement we had and the people that were coming up saying, and I work in prenatal in at the Royal. I see you guys in and out all the time, but I've no idea you were volunteers, or I've no idea what you did. But now I do. They go and talk to their friends.
Yeah.
People in some of the wards were sponsoring us, with people in local choirs, Sister and Voices choir in North Berwick. They came along and they sang on the way up the lawn and then had a concert at the top for us.
Gee whiz.
They had a pipe band that sent the piper along, the pipe major along to pipe us up.
Yeah.
So lots of community stuff. And thankfully, we got good coverage on TVs and in the local press. So again, it raised awareness, which is the real driving force. We wanted people to know
Sure,
about
this
us.
podcast will do that as well, because it's making him and I a lot more aware of what you do and what's involved as well. And I'm sure our listeners as well will be passing this on.
That
and
be a
hopefully
fantastic opportunity.
some more charity works on that will come from this as well.
We hope so, and more volunteers. If you're thinking of volunteering, you want to know more, we'll come onto the website, but www.bloodbikescotland.com.org. Sorry, we'll do that again. We'll get that one out.
Just to clarify one thing as well.
The funny bits have somebody's quite good.
Yeah, Blood Bike Scotland, and you're talking about volunteers. Now, we are seeing a lot more ladies, women driving motorcycles as well, and this is also
Absolutely
open up to them, as long as they're coming in with the same advanced training criteria as everybody else.
Every region that we operate from, we have female advanced riders, and some of these advanced riders are some of the best we've got. Yeah. So absolutely, we're not gender specific.
That's exactly it, because we are seeing a lot more female riders nowadays on the bikes, and here's kudos to them.
Absolutely. And the bikes we've got in each of the areas, we've got low seat height vehicles too, bike wise.
There you go, Steve.
That's me.
Well, it's not just for the ladies, but some of the
people who've got legs.
myself included.
Right, it's a GT though. No, I totally agree. Awareness is a main thing, and we've all spent at some point in our life, we've been in hospital for something, and I think sometimes you just take it for granted. You're in the right place, something's happening, but you don't take into account the things for stuff getting there. Do you know, if you're in hospital and you're needing something, and it's a specific type of blood or drug or something like that, and it's not at that hospital, you don't sit there thinking, where's this coming from? That's never at your mind. But behind the scenes, there's this chain of events that's happening. And certainly we know, one of the pleasures we get out of motorbiking is that when there is traffic, we can pretty get through that quite quick.
Yeah.
So something like Bloodbikes is a crucial thing in getting things from A to B on a time effective thing, because there's a lot of things that happen in hospitals that are time critical.
Yes.
And it's important it does that. And I think the fact that it doesn't get any support from NHS or the government, without going into political issues on there, is very much Joe Public that can help with this.
Yes.
What can Joe Public do to help more?
Various things we do. Raise awareness. We raise awareness at schools. So we take blood bikes into schools and do a presentation to school kids. Makes them aware of community, of volunteering. And crucially, it makes them aware of motorbikes. So the first thing I would say is, if you see motorcyclists or blood bikes in particular, in this case, please move over and let us through. We don't use blue flashing lights. We're all advanced riders. We do need to make progress. So please make some allowance for us in heavy traffic. And has to be said on the bypass, because we're frequent flyers there. A lot of people do, which is fantastic. We touched on equipment as well.
Yeah.
We do a lot of stuff. We move surgical equipment, theatre equipment between hospitals. And basically these come from sterilised units that need to get taken to a place with a tight time frame for an operation that's waiting to happen. So we do need to get places quickly.
Mhm.
We also take a lot of samples that are frozen, and they need to get from A to B, especially in the hot weather, in a state that's frozen. The consequence of not, the sample is then spoiled,
Yeah.
and the patient gets recalled into hospital for another biopsy or to get the sample again. So if you do see us, please let us through. We're not being arrogant. We're not being pushy. We're just trying to volunteer to do a good job.
Mhm.
And whatever's in the pannier or the top box, it could be for one of our loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
It could be for one of our kids, one of our parents. We're all Jack Tamson's bairns at the end of the day.
I think that's the thing is, if you see a blood bike on the road, just be aware that one day that blood bike may be going to help you.
Mhm.
And it doesn't take seconds just to pull to the left a little bit or pull to the right and create that space. I know from thought on that some people get the hump when it's bikers because, oh, you're getting ahead and I'm not. This
Yeah.
bypasses all this because we're talking about health. We're talking about somebody's well-being.
It's just that 1%, isn't it? Or
Yeah.
90.9%
Yes.
people just quite gladly move with
And I
That's
think that's a
left or
distinguishing
right,
thing
right.
as well, because I think sometimes when people see a blood bike, they automatically assume it is like an ambulance.
Mhm.
So why are you not flashing your lights? No, you do. And it's a volunteer organisation. Is there a reason why blood bikes aren't allowed to use flashing lights? Is it just because they're not part of the emergency services?
So all emergency services use blue flashing lights. I've got a much more rigid training and assessment
Right.
program that's in place,
Right.
and the advantage of using them for critical runs for the police, the ambulance, and that absolutely essential.
Mhm.
A lot of what we are doing is not that critical.
Yeah.
Right.
It's important. It's time critical and sensitivity, but we're not doing things that are life and death. We're not transporting beating hearts for a transplant with
Yeah.
a patient waiting to receive
I
it.
get
Mm.
that. Yeah.
We are doing medical equipment, medication, blood samples, whole blood for transfusion, anything else that will fit in the back of a bike, specimens we'll take.
Mhm.
But if it didn't get there without blue flashing lights, then nobody's going to
Mhm.
be worse off. If it needs to go quicker, we'll get police police would take it.
Right.
The ambulance would take it.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't do it. And also, if the volunteers that come, I think there's a certain type of individual that volunteers. If you're thinking it's going to be exciting, it's going to be blue flashing lights, and you're going to be the knight in shining armor, that's going through to save lives and all the rest of it, then it's probably not the charity for you to volunteer for,
Mhm.
because a lot of the stuff you do is routine samples. It's not the most exciting of stuff, but it's important.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference to the people in the
There's a
community.
need for it.
It's an absolute need for it,
Yeah.
yes.
I think that would be the thing is if you are going to volunteer, you're doing it for the benefit of Blood Bike Scotland.
Yeah,
You're
doing it
not
for the
doing
right
it
reason.
to satisfy some egotistical
Yes,
thing for you.
absolutely.
So you can walk and say, oh, I'm a blood bike rider. Da, 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 da. You've got to do it for the right reasons. And one of the things I thought was quite interesting, we took part in the charity ride Be Happy last
Yeah,
year.
yeah, basically.
And there was
yeah.
quite a lot of bikes turned out in quite a young age group.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really, really good to expose that age group who are full of enthusiasm and zest with their bikes and everything like that to the blood bikes. So I think there was about 5 or 6 blood bikes there on the day.
myself that met you down in
Yeah.
to East Lothian.
Yeah, because
We probably got the best photo of the day.
we did.
We were all these old guys. Right up. And Steve and
We probably thought we were benefiting from blood bike service more.
What fancy cameras looking.
I think an event like that, I don't know if Be Happy does it every year or whatever, but I think he does. I think he's done it a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think something like that needs to keep going, if anything, to introduce bikers that haven't seen or met blood bikes before to that. And again, we go back to the awareness and letting people know what is they do, how they do. And I think more importantly, how you can get involved either as wanting to become a blood bike volunteer or a volunteer of some kind.
Yes.
Because we've said, like, obviously that there's the controllers and things like that. And I think a lot of charities, one thing they do suffer for after fundraising is manpower. We mentioned earlier briefly the website. How do people get the first step? If I wanted to get involved in blood bikes in any scenario, as a biker, as behind the scenes, you mentioned the website. to go to?
Yes. So if you go to www.bloodbikesscotland.org, the whole setup's there. It tells you the story of the blood bike's origin. It tells you how to volunteer, what roles are there. It tells you what you need to know. Please go and check it out and show your interest. There's also a donate button there if you wish to put a tenner in the tank. Always helpful. Our bikes are about 25 quid a shift in fuel. And we've got multiple bikes on the road at the moment. So we've got a running cost of between £8,000 and £9,000 a month as our running costs.
Yeah.
Savings last year for 2025 were financial savings, 414,000 to NHS Scotland across those 5 health boards. But more importantly, the impact that we make to the individuals, the lives that you deliver morphine to when the morphine's running out, they're climbing the walls, when you deliver a ventilator to a child's home that's struggling to breathe and they can't get a good night's sleep. And when you're doing these jobs, that's when you make the difference.
Yeah.
There's a pound sign for sure, but there's a difference to the people that are in our community, the parents and the children that we all see every day.
Yeah.
I think, as you say, it goes back to the Lewis Hamilton comparison that, whenever you're in hospital, you're thankful to the doctors and nurses there, but, nobody ever gets the thanks. It's behind that. The porters, people like that, the ambulance drivers that brought you here, the blood bikes that have brought stuff in, everybody held behind the scene. It's this massive team that is all doing it. Could be for that one patient.
That was exactly it when COVID first struck and everybody was on lockdown, everybody was home. It was the medical services that you were saying, that you saw it there, and blood bikes as well. They were running about all over the place.
Yes.
Where everybody else wasn't allowed to leave their front doors.
Absolutely.
Because I was working at Napier Uni at the time, and I was working down at the student accommodations because everybody was all locked in their rooms with COVID and all the rest of it. And the amount of times you used to see them driving back and forward, even coming up there at that time, because they were picking up COVID samples to take to the Western General, because nobody would come and get them.
Yes.
The taxi drivers wouldn't come and get them.
Yes.
Even their staff in the university wouldn't come and get them. But blood bikes, they were coming up, picking them up, taking them down.
Yes.
It's like, wow. So it just shows you, where everybody else was way hiding, you guys were still out there in the forefront.
Yes. I think a lot of the time you got to drive on empty roads as well.
Yeah.
So definitely a bonus there.
And I think the thing there as well is, and I might get shot down for this, but at COVID we were all clapping for the NHS because we knew how much pressure the entire system and everybody that was involved was doing, but the service are doing. And it was it was ritual every night. Everybody was clapping, great. And as COVID died away, has our appreciation of that died away as well? Because they're still doing
memory fades
the service. So, we need to keep thinking that this service is still going, it is drastically underfunded. And, I'm sitting here thinking, and the accountant head's going thinking, right, for costs of just over 100,000 a year, you're saving 400,000 to the NHS. That's a saving. That's a massive saving. That could be money that's going to something else that normally wouldn't happen. So, folks, that all depends on you helping blood bikes with whatever donation you can. So, £10 donation to put petrol in the tank or anything like that would be much appreciated. We've got a ride that we're doing in September. 4 of us are just doing a ride around Scotland, but we will be carrying a little collection can for blood bikes, and we'll get that every stop. We'll get that on view. So if you see it come up, put some money in. It's going to blood bikes. It's not going to us. We will also be heading out at some point and let you see what a blood bike is up close. So the next time you see one coming up in your inside lane or whatever, you'll know to move across and watch for it. But I want to thank Joe for taking the time to come and speak to us and tell us all about blood bikes. But we've got a few questions that we always finish on ritual on, so I'll let Trog do that.
Start with the first one. The favourite bike you've owned?
Ooh. You can imagine in 50 plus years I've had a few bikes, from all the Exotica to the fast spaceships to the cruiser styles. I've built some choppers myself in a flat in Pennycook on the third floor flat. So I had to start it up one time just to make sure that I'd got the firing order right, which didn't The neighbours did the like. Yeah, they got a Christmas card that year.
My mate did that way as well. E250 in his kitchen.
And the smoke alarm going off. Probably the best bike I've had is based on the Boxer engine, the BMW Boxer engine. It was an RS 1250 that I managed to write off by throwing it into a ditch up north of Scotland.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful bike, did everything, and the characteristics of a Boxer engine, I just think that's a sweet spot.
Just being new to Boxer engines myself, I'm starting to really enjoy them.
Yeah, they're just relaxed and
Yeah,
yeah,
they're different.
they're beautiful bikes.
Yeah.
Beautiful engine.
I got a fright with the first time I filled the tank up lighting.
Aye.
Right, we know you've been all over, but we'll keep it local. Favourite Scottish road?
Ooh, Scotland is blessed with them, and weather makes a huge difference. I think a road, and I know you guys did it because I saw your video when you came back from St Mary's last Thursday.
Oh,
And you came up over the top of
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite. It's got the scenery, it's got the technical bits with the road that's as wide as a postage stamp at bits. You've got the gravel, you've got all the wild animals running across the road in front of you.
I made the perfect night for it that night.
That was
beautiful.
everything.
Yeah, there was a hare the size of a small dog as well.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was quite much.
I remember the first time it was Jim Gibson that we were going to run down the Borders, and he suddenly turned off, and I went, "Where's he going?" And we went up there, and it was glorious when we stopped for a picture. And I'm like, I can't believe this is on my doorstep, and this is the first time I'm seeing this. And then it chugged down with rain.
100 yards up the road.
But the last couple of times coming back from the Glen Cafe, which is one of our favourite places because of the lock and the service, and it's a great place for bikers.
Absolutely.
But that road coming back, I don't care how many times I come back and how many times I video
It's
it.
magical though.
It's just beautiful. Gorgeous and a brilliant road.
Yes.
Best and worst thing about riding a blood bike?
Huge amount of good things. You're riding the blood bike. You're riding the bike for one. You're riding the bike. You're having to pay for the petrol in another. In that respect, but you're doing something worthwhile. Every shift there'll be something you'll come back with, and it'll help. Worst thing probably come winter time when you're on the bike. Nothing to do with riding bikes, but more when you're prepared to ride a bike through from Glasgow from Edinburgh to Glasgow, and you're wrapped up like a fish supper, and you're in and out of hospitals that are sitting at 22, 23 degrees, and you're having to walk up and down flights of stairs carrying kit. That tends to be a bit where you think, God.
Because I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's all year round. It's not like bikers that go, I just ride biking season.
Riding season.
And then it goes in the garage, and that's it. I don't see it until next April or something like that. You guys are
365. I've done trips through Glasgow with samples on New Year's Day at 3 degrees, so just above the temperature that we'd stop and drop the cars. And some of those rides are brutal, but it made a difference to somebody who was waiting for an eye operation. So you do it.
So that one piece of riding kit then that you couldn't do without.
I would say the best piece of riding kit, I think any blood biker, or certainly any biker in Scotland, could do a good pair of boots. Get yourself spend as much money as you can on a pair of good waterproof boots, because if you haven't, when your feet get soaking and you've got another 6 hours on shift and the coldness starts to get it.
Gore-Tex just done that Scotland tour, and it was brilliant.
There you go.
Absolutely brilliant.
Weather do what you want. I'll be still smiling.
Brilliant.
Following on for that, late nights, bad weather, it's voluntary. What keeps you volunteering?
Best job I've had, and this just encapsulates everything about the opportunities you get. Because as a blood biker, you go to places you would never normally go to. You would have no reason to go to those places, and you see things you would never normally see because you're outside your normal. Was taking a ventilator from a run from the west, and my shift had just finished. I got a phone call for the controller to say, Friday night, I know that you're going home, but we've got a wee laddie through in Loch Lomond whose ventilator has broken down, and he's in a log cabin with the grandparents. It's his first weekend out of the hospital, and he needs this piece of kit. And if he doesn't get this piece of kit through in Glasgow and Loch Lomond, Then he's gone back in Queen Elizabeth at the sick kids through in Glasgow. So we picked up the stuff, got across to the Western just before the shut, belted through to Loch Lomond on a Friday night on a motorbike in the summer. What's not to love? And then was invited in for my dinner. And that type of impact that you have, a wee child could spend his first weekend out of hospital with the grandparents.
Money couldn't buy that.
It doesn't matter how much money we save the NHS, and that's why you do it. That's the magical moments.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get them every shift, but when you do, they feed the soul for so long, you're no hungry for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And there you go, folks. Not just hospital to hospital, right? And that's what Blood Bikes Scotland and Blood Bikes all over the world do. So thanks again to Joe for coming along. We're in East Lothian Community Hospital. I think the last time I was here was a long time ago when my sister got thrown off a horse. That'll teach you, Janice. So we will be putting we'll get some footage of the bike when we go out. We will be putting all Blood Bike Scotland's contact details on the website, on the social media, things like that, so that you can get in touch if you want to find out more. If you see anybody promoting to fundraise for Blood Bikes, help where you can. And if you see myself, Trog, and a couple of the guys round about Scotland at the beginning of September with our little can, please come over, say hi, put some money or cans, and help keep this vital organisation going and keep these guys on the road. Final shout out is to Widow Sons Mercia, who are having their first birthday bash on Sunday the 30th of August. And myself and Trog and Subway will be popping down for a visit, so we'll see you there, guys. If you've got anything else that you want to promote, an event or anything like that, or you want to come onto the podcast and promote your organisation, get in touch with us through social media. But for me, that's all from Donkey.
And that's all from Trog.
And thanks again, Joe, for
Thank you.
coming along. Thank you. See you later, guys.
Bye-bye.